Hey guys, what's up? It's Tees here coming at you with another Tips with Tees in College Football 25. Do you struggle scoring in the red zone? Do you struggle scoring within the 5-yard line, the 10-yard line, and just feel like because there's such a limited space that you're not able to get a touchdown, or you throw an interception, you throw a pick six, or you do something dumb? If you watch this video, I give you plenty of ideas and plenty of help and plenty of ways to score in the red zone within the 10, 5, and the 1-yard line. Before we get in this video, if you can please leave a like, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and also turn on those notifications so you do not miss another Tips with Tees in College Football 25. To get started, one thing that I really like doing in the red zone, regardless if I'm going up against a user or if I'm going up against the CPU, is running the jet sweep, especially if you have space and you're on the left hash or the right hash. It doesn't really matter. If you're on the left hash, you can run to the right. If you're on the right, run to the left side. So that is one thing that I like to do here. As you see here, we're on the 2-yard line. We are on the far left hash here, and I am going to hike the ball, and it's very easy to kind of pick up that touchdown, even though we're going up against a very, very tough defense there in Notre Dame, as I was even able to pick up the touchdown there. Going to run it again here, going to the outside here. Looks like the lineman gets blown up there. I cut to the inside, and I am able to score. So sometimes you have to cut it in. Sometimes you can get to the outside. It just depends on what you're going up against, and you have to make sure you make that right decision. That split decision, that is also going to be the right decision. All right, see if we can score one last time here. Double teaming, cutting it to the inside, and boom, we score. And again, this is not an easy play, but if you make the right decision, you will score more often than not. So the next play I like to run within 5-10 yards of the goal line is the RPOs, because a lot of them have two options to pass it in. The left one in this case is going to be there if you notice you're facing man coverage. The right side is if you notice you're going to be facing zone coverage. And you can tell by looking at the two cornerbacks that are covering 3 receivers on the right side that is definitely going to be zone coverage, as I'm going to be throwing it to RB as soon as I hike the ball and see what happens here. Hike the ball wide open to the outside here, gets an easy block and is able to easily score there. Again, going to show you here, obviously they're running in zone. Going to go to RB again, hiking it. He's not able to get to the outside there and easily able to score. Again, one more time, they're running zone. Going to hit RB here, wide open in the outside, and you can easily score there 9 times out of 10 as long as you have that advantage. Now, what happens if you're facing man coverage? As you can tell here, I switched the defense up. We are going man coverage, and I'll show you right here just to prove it. We're going man coverage, man to man. So you definitely want to stay away from the right side of the field here because you got 3 players, and obviously you can score. It's just not going to be as much of a guarantee. And the left side is definitely going to be the option that you want to go with here, as X is running an out route. So let's see what happens when I hike the ball. Again, one more time, show you hitting X. Doesn't beat it, but he still is able to catch it. Somehow gets bumped and he gets has to break inside and still catches it. So you also just got to be very, very careful with this and make sure that you do the correct route and you don't want to risk an interception in this case. Again, one more time, hiking it, goes the inside, and he dropped it. That should have been a touchdown, but that's it. That's all you got to do. And again, worst case scenario here, if the zone option and the man option are both covered, you can always hand it off. And again, that's worst case scenario in my opinion. I kind of run these RPOs like pros, P-R-O, passing first and then running. But in my opinion, it's the worst case scenario because you leave the edge defender on the right side wide open and he gets to make the decision if he's going to rush or not. And he's usually left open. So if you do hand it off and he does have a clear rush, it's going to be very difficult to score in. At least you don't turn over the football, which in my opinion is the most important thing here that you want to avoid. As I hike the ball here and I'm trying to get there and I'm not able to, but just keep that in mind. Another recommendation I have to score inside the red zone here is simply running the ball. If you have the numbers and you have more offensive linemen or more blockers than they do have players inside the box, then I would recommend running the ball and going for it, especially when you're in the 2 to 3 yard line here, because it's very, very difficult to run in this game. But if you have the numbers, you definitely set yourself up for success, even if you're going up with a team like BYU against Notre Dame, who clearly has a better defensive line here. As you see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down linemen. Pretty much, I count that middle linebacker as well. As I hand the ball off here, cut it inside, try to run over the defensive lineman or linebacker, and I believe I got in, but regardless, you definitely have an opportunity here. I'm able to cut it back again and score. It's not as difficult as you think as long as you have the numbers. Again, one thing I always double check here as well is making sure that you IDing the mic, because in this situation, you want to move it over to the right side here, because what actually happens is the offensive line, when they get to the second level, they identify who they're going to block based off of where you put that mic. So if you see that player with the M over him, basically what that means is if 70 doesn't have anyone to block, block on the defensive line, then he goes up and right to block the next level, basically going right towards that M linebacker to block. Again, I'm going to ID the mic again. I got numbers inside, and I am able to take this one in for the score. Barely scoring, but it still is a touchdown, and that's the ultimate goal, is scoring touchdowns and not giving the football over and turning it over. Obviously, if you're facing a defensive line like this, I highly recommend getting out of this. As you see, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in that box, 8, especially if you include the player over the wide receiver or tight end number 1 there, going up against our 5. And this is something you definitely want to avoid as you take a look at the defense, and you see that they are blitzing and bringing pretty much everyone there, especially number 34, that linebacker on the left side. He is going to blitz when he finds out that obviously we are running the ball. As I hike the ball here, and there's just nowhere to go at all. So you want to make sure you count the numbers. That is extremely important when setting up this play, because if you do not have those numbers, then you're not going to have a good time and you're not going to be able to score unless you have a very overpowered offense compared to a very bad defense. Other plays that I like running in the red zone are going to be plays that have concepts with them, pass plays that go with concepts, because a lot of plays that you're going up against in the red zone are going to be probably zone. If you do run into man, that's a little bit of a different story, and I'll go over that in a minute. But when you run into zones, you definitely want to run clear out routes as well, routes that kind of clear out space for another receiver or player to catch the ball in open space here. As for this one here, I got Epps running a deep in route, and then you have Kingston running a drag underneath him. So I'm going to be looking at Kingston here and see if that spot opens up and he's able to clear. I'm looking here, looking to see if he's able to find space, and he does, able to find a crease inside the end zone to easily score without getting tackled. So clear out concepts are going to be key in scoring touchdowns in the red zone, especially if you know you're going up against zone, which right here, you can kind of see that you're going against zone, but again, it's just a luck of the draw at this point because you're so close to the end zone. They have that goal line or the end zone that does help them, so they don't have to show too much what they got going on here, but this will help 9 times out of 10. And drag routes usually beat man and zone coverage as well, as long as you have a clear out concept in place. So again, I'll hike it here, drop back to pass, looking, hit him wide open, touchdown. Very, very simple, not doing too much here. You just got to really look at I think he's number 34, whoever's over Kingston. Basically, you look over him, and when he stops covering to the left side here is when you throw the pass. Look at him slowing down, boom, open. They try to tackle him, too late, easy touchdown. That's another thing that I recommend, is looking out clear out concepts to score touchdowns inside the red zone. Another little clear out concept that I literally just found right now that I recommend is, another concept that I've literally just found right now, and one thing that I usually do a lot when it comes to just gameplay in general, is you have all your receivers going to one way, right? You have Roberts going left, you have Kingston going left, and you have the outside receiver who you can't see, he's going left as well, but you have Epps who's going to go across the field, completely the opposite side. This is what I like to do, especially when I have a lot of receivers going all the same route. I throw one person in a drag or an out route or something just going the opposite way, because if they are going zones, majority of the time they are going to follow majority of those players, since you have 2 or 3 receivers going that way, and then it's going to leave another one wide open here, as the goal is to hit F's on the out route. As again, I'm going to do it again here. There's no one there now. Look at him, just wide open on the outside, easily able to score a touchdown. And depending on the defense, you got to watch that. Sometimes you might have to throw it away, but that's just a simple little concept that I usually run, again, just when I'm generally playing. It doesn't have to be in the red zone, but when you have everybody going one way, well then, if you're going against zone especially, or even man coverage, it's going to be one-on-one on the outside, and it's going to be a 50-50 chance. But if you're going against zone, well then it's still going to give you even a better chance, because a lot of those defenders will just keep on covering the rest of those players that are running left. Let's try to run it one more time here, as obviously I am going against zone. Let's see if they're able to counter it, and they're not able to stick with him. Just not able to make the throw. I had the player there, but that is what it is. But keep that in mind. Use that just in general, not just in the red zone, but just in general. Keep that one in your back pocket for sure. And right now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you go up against man coverage with this. I'm going to hit Epps again, and just watch how he kind of gets like a little bump right there, pushes off, and he's able to easily score for an easy touchdown. I'll run it again just to show you. It's just not a one-time thing, but because you have that 5-yard cushion, and you can do anything within 5 yards, well, look, I accidentally didn't change it, and I just can't catch the ball. Not helpful right there at all. But let's do it again and set them up in man coverage here, as I'll show you just to make sure that you see that. It's even one of their star players there. Set him up on an out route to the outside there, going against the grain. Little push off right there, wide open. As long as I can make the throw and the catch, it's an easy touchdown every single time. Another thing I like to do is spreading the field. I like to go in empty formation. Quarterback's the only one out there. You have your receivers and everybody out to the outside, forcing the defense to give them to show you really what they're running. And obviously, we're going up against zone here, but the key is just to pay attention to what you're going to run. For this particular play, I'm going to run double ends, and I really like this concept because you have the RB who's running it in, and then you have the outside receiver running it in as well, and he might clear out space, especially if you're going up against zone here. But when I hike the ball, you can see that R1 gets open right over the middle, and you're easily able to score a touchdown there as long as you hit the throw at the right time. Again, the double end concept is extremely overpowered, especially if, he's not open. The back guy will be open because the linebacker will cover him and clear out space behind. But in this situation, what has been happening is the linebacker is trying to cover him as well, but he leaves him wide open over the middle for an easy touchdown. Let's see how this play goes against man coverage here. The options are still the same. I'm still going to be looking at RB, and then we're going to be looking at my outside receiver B. It just depends on who is open first, as it looks like he's still open over the middle, and he is. You can score a touchdown easily there just by a double ends route concept. So keep that one in your back pocket as well. So another concept that I like to use in the red zone is going to be the bunch formation out of shotgun. I love this formation, and I love this play here. I usually go with B as my primary, and then I look to A, who I actually usually throw on a hot route to a slant to the left to open up some more space that way. And usually if I am getting killed up front and I need an extra blocker, what I end up doing is throwing my running back as a blocker, as these are the little hot routes that I end up doing a lot of the time for this play here, as B is going to be the primary receiver, and then I'm going to look over A over the middle. And let's just see what happens as we go up against man coverage here. We're going to see how well this play works, especially in the red zone here. B takes off, and he's got some space. If he can cut it, you have an opportunity to dive into the end zone, but sometimes it is more difficult than not. But you do have enough space here as I am able to score there. And as long as you lead your receiver correctly, you can easily throw him a little bit more down the field, which gives you a better opportunity to score. Let's try it one more time here. B against man-to-man. He beats the man, and look at him just fall off on him. And even though he gets tackled, he does score the touchdown there. So this is another play that I really, really like to use, especially if B is covered. Let's see what happens if I look to A across the field here, as if I throw a high ball, will he catch it? Well, it's a bad throw. He was kind of open, but very, very difficult pass regardless. Let's try it one more time. See if he's able to score this against man coverage here. Wide open over the top, throw a high ball, easy catch, easy touchdown. It is possible, but both of these routes are going to be open more often than not because they are going the opposite way. But again, this is just versus man coverage. So now let's see how this formation works when you're facing zone coverage. If you know it's zone, you definitely want to be more careful about this pass because 5 is going to have a more difficult time getting to the outside. If you know it's man, you know that 5 is going to beat that 9 times out of 10. But when you're going up into the zone, you really want to potentially be looking for that tight end who's going across the middle of the field. So let's hike it and see what happens here. He's covered on the outside here, and look at that. Wide open, you have A across the middle. Again, I love throwing my tight ends on drag routes, on slant routes, just across the middle, mixing things up, throwing off the defense. And let's try it one more time. So look at B, he's getting covered, but then because the receiver on the left side cleared out the space for the tight end, it's an easy touchdown 9 times out of 10. And I know a lot of these concepts are all just on the left side of the field, but they work on the right side of the field too. You just got to flip the play. It's very, very simple. I didn't want to have to go over that as well because it's kind of common sense. You want to throw to the open side. You want to run to the open side. You want to give your team more of an opportunity to score by using the open end of the field. But that'll do it for this video, guys. If you guys did get something out of this, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if you have any better tips or anything like that, definitely leave a comment down below. But also don't forget to turn on those notifications so you do not miss another Tips with Teeds. But I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. I'm out. Peace.